Hi, we're back with the second video of the ongoing Second American Civil War here in the United States. This is just one of three astrological cycles that are hitting us all at the same time. Now, this particular cycle, the Second American Civil War cycle, it's hitting America in particular. Since it's an astrological cycle that's special to America. And then the other two cycles, one of them is global, that's the financial meltdown. And then the other cycle is Pluto, and that is the meltdown and collapse of all governments around the world. That is global also. But a caveat to that is that Pluto cycle, there's a little detail there that is very particular and that is really hitting America, the United States. That's particular to us. But this video is the second one that shows you the evolving signs and evidence of the Second American Civil War that is now in play. Let's back up here. Yeah, that's our website, but I posted one of the updates to the Civil War. Now, Civil Wars usually deal with secessions also. That's where, like counties, they want to break away from their state, the state that they're in, and form their own state. That is exactly what happened in 1861 with West Virginia. It was part of Virginia, and it broke away, and it is now its own state, West Virginia. West Virginia, the people there did not agree with the pro-slavery sentiments of their legislatures in Richmond, Virginia, and now we have West Virginia. And that is a key. That's sort of the canary in the coal mine. That is the bellwether for the Civil War for this country as it sweeps across it. Now, let me show you some websites of what's coming up for us as it matures. You know, that's 70% of being successful in coming out of these big changing, cataclysmic, seismic changes that sweep through civilizations periodically is being psychologically prepared, being psychologically flexible, and knowing what's happening, because it can be pretty scary, can't it? And people who are not flexible and they don't understand psychologically, you either bend or you break. And we want you to bend and prosper in the coming years. So let me show you this site, but before we get into this, let me show you the cheat sheet of what I shared in the first video, just for a baseline reference. I pull from several predictive sources. One is astrology, the other is the Socrates quantum computer system. These are the three cycles I mentioned earlier. This is the one that this video is about. It is Saturn, Pluto in the constellation sign Capricorn. That equals the Second American Civil War. That is very particular to our country, America. And then these other two cycles, I have done videos on those. And you can pause the videos to read this yourself. It's sort of astrological language. Astrology does have language of its own, just like medicine, just like law. It has a language. But you can read those and see these dates, January 12th and January 18, 2020. Very, very close. These predictive tools have an 80 to 100% accuracy rate, especially the Socrates quantum computer system. That's very, very accurate. Now let's look at those websites. These are the ones that are showing us that the Civil War is alive and well, and it is maturing. Now, Civil Wars happen because of tyrants. The government becomes tyrannical, becomes far too oppressive and oppressive to the people. Draconian, that's the word. And the governments are really good historically, and this is, you can take this to the bank. Historically, governments are really good at killing their own citizens. Well, there reaches a point where citizens don't like that so much anymore, and they fight back, and that's a civil war. Okay, so here's the Montana Daily Gazette. This was published, this article, January 14, 2020. This has already evolved, but Montana County demands people wear government-issued armbands to do business. Now, this is the sign of a collapsing government as we know it. They become more and more tyrannical, more and more controlling, more and more demanding, more and more oversight over their citizens' every move and every thought. And this is what it looks like. And this is what causes civil war. So I'm just showing you things that are leading up to the Civil War, besides the full-on rioting and killing, which also comes from tyrannical behavior. By the way, the Second Amendment, the right to own arms by the citizens, it's not owning guns so you can hunt rabbit and deer. The ownership of those guns is to protect you, the citizen, against your tyrannical government. And we'll be seeing some more videos on that later on in maybe the fourth video. But anyway, this article, according to the flyer produced by the Valley County Health Department, out-of-towners, people who come into the state who lack the government-issued arm bans, you can also read that as the yellow star that the Nazis put on the Jews. So this is a government-issued arm ban, will be prohibited from stores, grocery stores where you need food, and residents are notified to call law enforcement if they do not comply. Now, that's another sign of civil war, is snitches, people snitching on each other, people running to a government authority and snitching on, say, a neighbor or a friend or a loved one. That's the sign. Just ask the Russians. They lived through that, and how did that work out for them? People snitching on each other in their society. It absolutely collapsed their society in a horrible way. Let's scroll down no, it's not this one. Okay, here are some examples of how Nazi Germany wanted to track their people. With it was the yellow star, it was the pink wristband, it was the tracking device on your cell phone, it was this, it was that, and then it just kept getting worse and worse. So this is where it's going. Just so you know, I know you say it could never happen in this country. Well, the Germans, this is what happened. So you can see these tattoos on people's arms. Those millennials who don't believe in this is what it looks like when the Nazis tattooed the Jews who went into the concentration camps, the labor camps, and then the extermination camps. There were two flavors. And they harvest the Jews like cattle, all their bodily goods. So this is what it looks like. See, we have cell phones today, right, that can track us. And they do that in communist China today. So how did it work out for Nazi Germany? Okay, that's one example. Another, here is the Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer says protests can lead to extension of stay-at-home orders. So Gretchen is threatening her citizens to behave themselves and obey and be obedient, or she will continue to keep you locked down and jailed in your house. Yes, now that is the behavior and the speech of a tyrant. So let's read this a little bit. Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer said Thursday, what's the date on this article? April 17, 2020. Thursday evening that the irresponsible actions, that's more like the irresponsible actions of the governor. Anyway, protesters in her state this week could lead to an extension of stay-at-home orders. Demonstrators descended on the state capitol in Lansing, Michigan, Wednesday after Whitmer extended Michigan's stay-at-home order through April 30th. Now, you know why people are protesting is because it's killing them. And people don't like it when their governments are kind of like killing them, killing their businesses, killing their lifestyle. Yeah. I guess they're not going to be quiet. They will not go quietly into the night. Quote, it's that kind of irresponsible action that puts us in this situation where we might have to actually think about extending stay-at-home orders, which is supposedly what they are protesting. Whitmer, a Democrat, said in an interview with NBC host Rachel Maddow. By the way, I just call it NBC. When I lived in Los Angeles, Southern California, I was a member of the ski club. It was the Tri-Net Ski Club. That was NBC, CBS, and ABC, the Tri-Net. So that's why I just call them NBC. We skied up at Mammoth Mountain all weekend, most weekends throughout the winter. It was a blast. Quote, when you see a political rally, that's what it was yesterday, a political rally where people aren't wearing masks and they're in close quarters and they're touching one another. You know that that's precisely what makes this kind of disease drag out and expose more people, Whitmer said. So there you go. So she's very angry that this is a political rally. That shouldn't be. Well, let's look more about good old Gretchen. And some of these words here are a little inflammatory, but anyway, Governor Gretchen Whitman awards coronavirus contract to a far-left political firm to track private health information of Michigan residents. I hope you're getting the feel of it here is the tracking of the citizens, the monitoring, the tracking, the controlling, the reporting. It's all gentle. It's okay. Your data is private. Your data is protected. Only certain trusted individuals of the government will have access to your information. It's okay. Yeah, we'll see how that works out. So she's shouting and offended that this is a political rally, and then she gives this contract to a political firm to track her citizens. Let's scroll down and read more about that. The Whitmer administration announced Monday that it had awarded a contract for contact tracing in the state of Michigan to Every Action Van. And they are an arm of the Democratic data company called NGP Van. The liberal firm works with all of the major Democratic campaign committees and hundreds of labor unions across the country, according to its website, and will, quote, help organize remote phone banking and track information and contacts, which they would use to promote their Democratic candidate in presidential or other elections. For Michigan, a state press release said. The group in turn, the group is run by Stuart Trevelyan, a longtime Democratic campaign operative who worked in the Clinton White House and is currently assisting presumptive Democratic nominee Joe Biden's campaign with voter outreach. That's very good, and fundraising, according to Federal Election Commission reports. Whitmer's own gubernatorial campaign paid NGP Van nearly $5,000 in 2019, according to state campaign finance records. Every Action is a branch of the firm that works with nonprofit organizations. So this is tracking the citizens. And by the way, there will be snitches involved to make sure that the citizens are tracked. And when I say snitches, that means your neighbors snitching on you. Neighbors, people you know snitching on you, your family, and your children. So just want to give you a heads up. I don't care if you shake your head and say, oh no, that can't happen here. We're seeing it happen already, sweeties. Okay, so that's it. Stay tuned for the next video. Thank you. Thank you for joining. And if you like these videos, please give a like so other people can see these videos and stay informed and prepared. Thank you so much. This is JJ from Paranormal Talks, and we'll be talking to you later. Thanks. Bye.